I'd like to call the Committee on City Property and Claims to order at 6:30. I have one motion this evening. Sarah isn't with us this evening. From the docket of September 7th, 2021, I entertain a motion to accept a generous donation of 20 laptop computers to the Attleboro Public Library from Sinesta Technology with an estimated value of $10,000.
Second.
That's a great donation. I know the library can use it. With the new renovations, I'm sure they'll find a place for these computers over there and they'll go to good use. Any questions, comments?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I have no other business this evening. Move to adjourn. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Kathleen, do you have anything this evening?
No, Vice President Jackson, I don't. So traffic and transportation is canceled.
Ty, are your guests here?
Yes, they are.
Public safety emergency management is canceled, by the way, this evening.
You're muted, Ty.
Sorry about that. I call the Veterans Personnel and Human Services Committee together at 6:33. And I have guests coming in. Is Heather Rockwood on? Jim, do we have anybody back there? It's coming on.
Hello, I am here.
Okay, Heather, great. I'm glad it worked out.
Yes, thank you.
So if you could introduce yourself to the council and to our committee and share your name, your address, and then share why you are interested, a little bit about yourself first.
Sure. My name is Heather Rockwood. My address is 100 South Main Street in Attleboro. I'm in the first apartment. And my background is in history and culture. So I have worked for over a decade in the history and culture of New England at the Old State House Museum in Boston, then at the Newport Historical Society for the last few years. And then most recently, I am at the Massachusetts Historical Society. So that's where I currently work. And I also run and founded the Jewelry City Steampunk Festival here in Attleboro, which unfortunately did just have to postpone this year's event, which usually happens in October, to 2022. This would have been our 5th year running. Last year we did go virtual for COVID. I have a great interest in culture and history, and I did do theater in college and high school as well. I dabbled in singing, but that is not my strong suit. So I kind of stick to where I am of, helping to run events and helping be in the background to bring our creators forward. So I thought I would be a great fit for the Cultural Council.
Well, that was a very good explanation of yourself. Is there anything you would like to add beyond that as to why you are seeking a position on the Cultural Council, or do you feel that pretty much summed it up?
Well, I have a great belief in all programs being accessible to everybody. So I really love free programming for general populations and bringing programming to underserved communities, which is why when I created Jewelry City Steampunk Festival, one of my highest priorities was making it free to the public with only, certain things like workshops and maybe like an after party having a ticket price to it. So when I'm joining the council, that's going to be one of my main priorities, is making sure that programming is as free and open to the public as possible.
Thank you. I will open this up. Are there any members of our committee? Peter, do you have anything you'd like to chime in with?
Sounds like a great fit, Heather.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to ask any questions or share any thoughts?
Ty, may I?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Simone. Yeah.
Hi, Heather. Kathleen DeSimone. Nice to meet you. Thank you for your willingness to volunteer on the Cultural Council. And you just said two very important things, I think, about accessibility and free, which makes everything wide open to everybody. So based upon what you just said, your letter, your cover, your resume, thank you. You seem like you're going to be fantastic, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you so much.
I can only add that having seen some of the performers, if we could call it that, in the Steampunk Festival, it was quite an event throughout the city.
Thank you.
And it certainly was free, at least for many of us. So I agree with your concepts. To speak up from the council. Okay. Well, I appreciate it. We will hold our vote in a second within committee, and next week I am presuming that the entire council will have their opportunity to vote. And after next week, you'll need to be going down to the clerk's office and raise your right hand.
Great. Thank you so much.
All the best. Thank you. So with that, I would like to make a motion from the docket of September 7th, 2021. I move to approve the appointment of Heather Rockwood, 100 South Main Street, Apartment 1, to fill an unexpired term on the Cultural Council, term to expire February of 2023.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. So the vote passes 2-0. And we have another guest, Rose Brown, who's also interested in the Cultural Council, and we did have several vacancies. Is Rose Brown with us?
Yep, I'm here.
There you are, Rose. Okay,
Here we
it's always a slight delay. How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming. So if you could share your address and a little bit about yourself, and we'll be glad to learn who you are.
Great, so Rose Brown, and I live at 58 Holden Street. My family has lived here for about 18 years, 19 years about. I have a child at Brennan Middle School. On a personal note, personal level, I have been an artist and a musician my whole life. And on a professional level, I've worked in nonprofits and with a focus on analysis and data visualization, among other things. So I really appreciate the opportunities that arts and culture allow people to, it brings the world to them. It broadens people's horizons, it broadens their knowledge, it broadens their experience. So I've always found culture, whether it be through art, music, dialogue, whatever, being just a vital importance to anybody in a community. Just to anticipating your next question, with my interest is kind of bringing that experience that I have on a personal and professional level to the council, to maybe also bring some database decision making. I'm really interested in putting together like look backs on how grants have been made in the past, how that can influence how they're made in the future, how rubrics can be designed to make things more equitable and accessible, as Heather mentioned earlier, and make sure that another interest of mine is to make sure these grants, these dollars are as widely known and as accessible as possible to whoever wants to access them. So all those things kind of tie together to make me very interested in participating.
Thank you. I agree with you. It's the grant part of the job is very important, and we're trying to find new groups, new performances when they begin to emerge. And so we continually need to get our information out there of who we are as a cultural council. So thank you. Peter, would you have any thoughts or questions?
I'll just thank you for volunteering, Rose. I'm sure you're going to be an asset, and look forward to what you bring to the council and what you bring forth.
Thank you.
And I'll open it up now for the rest of the members of the city council. Yes, Kathleen.
Thank you, Council Waterman. Rose, wow, the Cultural Council is scoring big tonight with yourself and Heather. I want to welcome and thank you for your willingness to serve. And I think your skill set is going to be particularly helpful in the pursuit of grant funds as they become more and more competitive. So awesome. Glad to have you. Congratulations and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? And I can only see half the council on my screen, so speak up if you want to talk. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us, and we will be having a vote within committee now, and then next week the entire council, and after that, if it passes, which I hope you join us, you would go down to City Hall and to the clerk's office and get sworn in.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And that concludes, I do have to do the motion. So from the docket of September 7th, 2021, I move to approve the appointment of Rose Brown, 58 Holden Street, to fill an unexpired term of the Cultural Council, term to expire February of 2022.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. The vote passes 2-0. And with that, concludes the business of the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee for this evening. I will call for the next committee meeting at the next appropriate time. Thank you.
You need to adjourn, Ty.
Oh, yes, I need to adjourn. Sometimes I forget. So I move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. And we are adjourned.
I'd like to call the Public Works Committee to order at 6:43. First of all, I want to thank Councilor Dolan for taking care of a couple of my items last Thursday evening when I could not be in attendance. So thank you, Laura. I have one item to bring out this evening from the docket of September 7th, 2021. I entertain a message, if that's what it says. I entertain a motion to transfer $10,500 from account 6100-578300, Water Enterprise Fund, Reserve Fund for Transfer, to account 6100-530108, Water Enterprise Fund, Engineering Services, for funds to update the Emergency Response Planning, which is ERP, of the water systems required under the America's Water Infrastructure Act, AWIA.
Second.
Thank you very much. So the America's Water Infrastructure Act supersedes, it supersedes the ERP and the vulnerability assessment system. And this we need to have this done because to protect our water system. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. I have no further business this evening. I'd like to call for a committee, I'd like to ask for an adjournment at 6.
Second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 6:45.
I'd like to call budget and appropriations order at 6:45. I have three matters to bring out tonight. First, from the docket of September 7th, 2021, I entertain a motion to call a public hearing on September 21st, 2021 for the following loan order. I'm just going to read it now so we don't have to do it later on. Ordered that the city appropriates the amount of $6,200,000 for the purpose of paying costs of making energy efficiency improvements to city school buildings. The project, as described in the Energy Management Services Agreement, EMSA, to be entered into between the city and Train Incorporated, and for the payment of any other costs incidental or related thereto, that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow $6,200,000 and issue bonds, notes, therefore, under General Law, Chapter 44, or any other enabling authority. Any premium received by the city upon the sale of any bonds or notes hereunder, unless any such applied to the payment of the cost of issuance such bonds or notes, may be applied to pay project costs, and amount authorized to be borrowed hereunder shall be reduced by the amount of any such premium so applied. And further, that the mayor is authorized to execute and deliver any and all documents and agreements that in his view are reasonably necessary to accomplish the purposes of this order, including the EMSA or any other energy services and or energy savings guarantee agreements with respect to the project, and to take any necessary action to carry out the project.
Second.
The city is in the process of,
Sorry, go ahead.
thanks. The city's in the process of entering into a performance contract with Train Technologies after energy audits were performed. The school department determined the scope of the project. The project will take place at Brennan, Coelho, Wamsutta Middle Schools, Hyman Fine, Hill Roberts, Dudley, Thatcher, and Willett Elementary Schools. The work being done on each school varies, but includes boiler replacement, new HVAC systems and controls, new chillers, new kitchen hood and freezer controls, building envelope improvements, water conservation measures, new electric transformers. The project costs roughly $5.9 million, will take approximately 18 months to complete. Schedule currently anticipates a November 2021 start date. The upgrades that make up this project will result in significant energy savings for the school department over the next 20 years. Loan authorization of $6.2 million is now needed for this project.
Second.
Thank you, Council Conti. This is just to call for the public hearing, but I figured, what in the world, let's just take care of reading it into the record now. Any questions, thoughts, or concerns? Council Conti?
I fully support the public hearing, and I fully support the bonding. And I might as well talk about it now because it's the first motion on the floor. Construction costs this year are up 8% since the first of the year, and will be up by 10% by the end of the year. So this is a very timely bonding to wipe off a significant portion of the capital improvement projects. And I'm all for that. So I expect to hear a lot of favorable comments at the public hearing, and that concludes my comments.
Well said. Thank you, Richard. Council Corbis?
Just for clarification, you said September 21st, correct? What's the
Correct.
date? Okay.
Yep.
I assume you want me to take notes?
Yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be great.
Got it.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. From the docket of September 7th, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $37,083.53 from account 1124100-578350 Citywide Reserve Fund for labor negotiations to the following accounts to satisfy the memorandum of agreement with the city's laborers association. Account 1420100-51100 DPW salary and wages, $28,033.53. Account 1420100-51300 DPW overtime, $950. Account 1420100-5130001 DPW lump sum retro, $8,000. Account 1420100-5143030 DPW longevity, $100.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. Again, this is contractual. This is the executed memorandum of agreement between the city and the Attleboro Laborers Association, local number 1144 DPW for fiscal years 2021 through 23. City was able to obtain its goal of this 0% cost of living adjustment in fiscal 21 with 3% and 2% COLAs in years 2 and 3 of the contract respectively. And that is just to live up to those obligations. Any questions, thoughts, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Finally, from the docket of June 1st, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve waiving sign permitting fees as required under section 17-16.5 of the revised ordinances of the city of Attleboro as a match to the TDI grant supporting small business signage program. Electrical permit fees will still apply.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. We did hold the public hearing on this back in July. No one came to speak in favor or against. City of Attleboro, if you'll remember, has been approved for a $35,000 TDI local grant in order to launch a signage program. And this will provide eligible downtown Attleboro businesses the opportunity to receive a new storefront sign at no cost, though they will be responsible for installation and any lighting they may choose to incorporate into the design. The City of Attleboro will contract with a signage design and production firm to produce these storefront signs. And this program is designed to encourage both new businesses who may be delaying non-vital expenditures and existing businesses whose signage may be fading or damaged to invest in a new look. Improvements to downtown storefront signage will make a noticeable impact on the public realm. As a match for this grant, there's a request of the waiver of signing the permitting fees for participating business as required under section 17-16.5. The electrical permit fees will still apply to any business who wants to add lights to their signs. Look, I'm in favor of waiving these fees. It's always great to see the city working with businesses, new and existing, who want to invest in the downtown, as well as the city working to invest in the businesses. So I would encourage your support as we bring it to the full council in just a few minutes. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Councilor Conti?
So the motion does not include the waiving of the fees, does it?
That is what the motion is.
Okay.
The motion to approve the waiving of sign permitting fees. The confusion would be that the electric fees we're not waiving. So
Okay.
if someone wants to light those signs, they'll have to do that on their own.
Yep, that's where my confusion was. Thanks for clearing it up.
Glad to help, my friend. All right, any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. That is all the business I have for budget appropriations. We'll look to adjourn at 6:53.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we adjourn 6:53. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call the Zoning and Land Use Committee to order at 6:53. And we just have one item on the docket today. From the docket of September 7th, 2021, I move to call for a public hearing on September 21st for the following street acceptance. The mayor hereby requests your honorable body to schedule a public hearing pursuant to Rise Ordinance of the City of Attleboro as amended to lay out a portion of Nichols Avenue, length of 486.5 feet from station 0 to station 4 plus 86.50 as a public way and accept said way and any related drainage, water, or sewer facilities or easements, all as shown on a plan and profile entitled Roadway Acceptance Plan of Nickel Avenue in Attleboro, Massachusetts, dated July 6, 2018, prepared by Sean Michael Leach, PLS, which plan has been deemed satisfactory to the Superintendent of Public Works.
Second.
Motion's in order. This is just to call for a public hearing for the street acceptance. Any additional comments, concerns? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And that concludes business of the Zoning and Land Use Committee. Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 6:54.
License Committee has no business this evening.
Richard, do you have any business? Can you hear me? I don't think he does. Okay.
Councilor Blair, did you do the business for Council Reynolds yet? I came in a couple
Yes.
minutes late. Sorry. Okay, thank you. All right. Anything else? I don't think so. Did anybody on the Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee hear from Council Holmes?
No.
Okay. So when the time comes, we'll just call for committee meeting at the next appropriate time. And we'll wait 5 minutes because we have to.
Well, Virginia timed that perfectly though, didn't she?
Yes, she did. Strong work.
She's amazing.
I think Mr. Conti voted everything he wanted to out last Thursday, the 19th. Is that true, Mr. Conti?
We did. So I have two motions for the full council tonight. One, both from September 7th, one on the motion to transfer 47,000 and the other to approve the community development block grant.
Thank you.
Perfect. Right. So we'll see you in 5 minutes. 4 now.
I think she's getting used to what's going on.
All right. Give everybody a couple of minute or so to get back on. Okay, here we go. I'd like to call this special meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 7:01. Mr. Withers, would you kindly read the notice of the special meeting?
Yes, date, August 17th, 2021. 2 members of the Municipal Council from Mark J. Cooper, President. Councilors, by authority of Article 2, Section 2-7C of the Attleboro Home Rule Charter, I hereby call a special meeting of the Municipal Council as follows. Date, Tuesday, August 31st, 2021. Time, 7 p.m. Place, 77 Park Street, Council Chambers. Purpose, and that changed to Zoom, by the way. Purpose, to discuss any legal matters before the council. Sincerely, Mark J. Cooper, President, CC Mayor Paul Harut.
Thank you. Mr. Withers, would you also kindly take a roll call attendance, beginning with Councilor Blair?
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Here.
Mr. Conti,
Present.
Mr. Waterman,
Present.
Vice President Jackson,
Present.
Mr. Delisio,
Present.
Mr. Cobus,
Here.
Ms. Dolan,
Here.
Ms. Reynolds, Ms. Holmes, President Cooper.
Yeah.
9 councilors are present. Ms. Reynolds and Ms. Holmes are absent.
Thank you. Just quickly, Councilor, Vice President Jackson, thank you for the last minute shuffle for the meetings in August and taking my call and figuring it all out at the last minute to have the meetings. I appreciate your flexibility, to you and Virginia, for picking that up. So thank you for that. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes of June 22nd, July 20th, July 22nd, and August 17th.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Dolan.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delisio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. Moving on to the clerk communication.
Okay. Just have one tonight. We received an application to waive section 11-15.1 to serve alcohol on city property from Friends of Cape and Park Zoo. The request is for a function on October 2nd, 2021. A public hearing needs to be held. Public hearing September 21st, 2021.
Thank you. Zone License Committee, please. And then Councilor Dolan, would you like to have a public hearing on September 22nd for that matter?
Yes. Yes, please.
Thank you. A roll call vote is in order, and we'll begin with.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
President Cooper, you mean September 21st?
What I say, second?
Yeah, you said second.
22nd.
Oh,
We don't want that.
I didn't
No.
catch that.
September 21st, I'm sorry. I have
No
written
worries.
down 22nd too. I better fix that. I ain't doing anyone. And I've only asked Virginia probably 7 times today, what's the date? So she's probably at home going, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Delisio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
Who'd I miss?
Me.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays. I'm sorry. Jeez, it's getting more common. Time to retire.
Yes, you should.
So we will have a motion passes. We will have a public hearing on that on September 21st. We can move right into, since we're at a special meeting, we can move right into committee reports, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Public Safety Emergency Management has no business to bring forward this evening, but will request a committee meeting at the next appropriate time. You want me to do Sarah's now?
Yes, please.
Okay. city property and claims from the docket of September 7th, 2021. I move to accept a generous donation of 20 laptop computers to the Attleboro Public Library from Sonesta Technologies with an estimated value of $10,000.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
As I said earlier, it's a great donation. I'm sure with the library going through the renovations and whatnot, they will put these computers to good use. We thank them for the donation.
For sure. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Dolan.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes,
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. We have no other business this evening, but would request a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Great. Thank you. Councilor DeSimone.
Thank you, President Cooper. Traffic and Transportation has one piece of business for this evening. From the docket of June 1st, 2021, I move to approve the following ordinance amendment, amending Chapter 10 of the revised ordinances by deleting in its entirety Section 10-5.13, limited for commercial vehicles and trailers, and replacing it with, and President Cooper, I read the body of the amendment into the record at the committee meeting 2 weeks ago.
Thank you. Is there a
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments? Councilor DeSimone.
Yes, thank you, President Cooper. So I have what may be an unusual request, and I respectfully ask my fellow councilors to consider voting against this motion for the following reason. As you'll note, it's in Chapter 10, which is parking and motor vehicles, which puts enforcement of this under the jurisdiction of the police department. And I have spoken with Chief Hegney after the committee hearing, and I did express some concerns at the committee hearing about the utilization of resources to enforce this. And the chief also expressed his concerns that perhaps this wouldn't be the best use of police resources to enforce this particular amendment where it lives. So I would like to propose the following respectfully, that this honorable body vote it down this evening so that I can rework it with Superintendent Bill McDonough and Gary Arazian and reintroduce it through zoning where I believe it probably more properly should be. So, yeah, that's what I would like to do, President Cooper.
Thank you. Thank you for that explanation, Councilor DeSimone. And I just want to start out by saying that I'm in favor of that plan. I think this is most appropriate in Chapter 17 of the zoning ordinances to be consistent with what the practice has been. And so for that reason, I am in support. I think Councilor Conti, Councilor Dolan, and Councilor Cobus.
I too agree with the fact that this should move into zoning. Zoning is the law of the land. It's on the use of the land, and this is definitely a use of the land, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Councilor Dolan.
Thank you. I agree as well. And I had, I was so focused on the language when we had a really good conversation in our Councilor DeSimone's committee hearing. And I think we were so focused on the language, like I really didn't think about it a lot as far as being enforced by the police. And I agree that I think it belongs with zoning. And I actually spoke to Bill McDonough regarding it, and he agreed as well. And, I just don't think it's the best resources for the police to have to go out there. And I don't think they really need a police presence. I think it's just a letter with a warning and then, telling them they'll be fined and, just leave it at that. So I'll vote this down as well. And I agree it should go to zoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Cobus.
As the zoning committee chair, I also agree that this belongs in zoning, and if you resubmit it, I will move it through the committee as quickly as possible. And I'm supportive of this with the new language that doesn't include the tow truck language, and would have supported it now, but agree that it would be better enforced under the zoning ordinances. So, yeah, no, I support not approving it tonight.
Any, Council DeSimone?
Thank you, President Cooper. Thank you, Council Cobus. I meant to say that we did have a good discussion at the committee hearing. We deleted the language relevant to the tow truck exemption. I don't intend to reintroduce that. I guess anybody else could. We also, Mr. McDonough, we kind of agreed, went over the definitions, and I think we're in a good place there. So I don't think it would take a long time, Council Cobus, to get it into your committee. So I thank you all for your consideration. Thank you, President Cooper.
Councilor Blair?
President Cooper, does this have to go back through a public hearing and the whole shamir?
Yes, it would.
We just can't put it back in committee?
No, because, you know, it's substantially different, Councilor Blair. So
Okay,
because this is chapter 10 and it's going to go into chapter 17, it's substantially different than what we advertised for the public hearing. So we'll start all over.
just a question.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Any additional, Councilor Cobus?
Speaking of logistics and how things move through, if we if we reject this tonight, is there any concerns about reintroducing it immediately following? And that, because do we officially have a rule on the books that says we can't reintroduce something within a year of having considered it?
But again, the substantially different rule applies, right? So it's a totally different chapter of the ordinance book.
Okay.
And so with a different intent, right? The intent of what is before Councilor DeSimone had some other issues that were in it that the committee and the council came to some resolution around. And what she proposes, and obviously, like she said, someone could add additional language to what she proposes, but what she proposes will not include that. So it is it's different, similar, but not the same.
Thank you. I just wanted to double check that we weren't going to delay this by a year if we reject it.
No. Any additional comments or questions? Seeing none, I believe the roll call will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
No,
Ms. DeSimone,
No,
Mr. Conti,
No,
Mr. Waterman,
No,
Vice President Jackson,
No,
Mr. Delissio,
No,
Mr. Cobus,
No.
Ms. Dolan,
No,
President Cooper,
No,
0 yeas, 9 nays.
motion failed.
thank you, President Cooper. That concludes the business of the Traffic and Transportation Committee. We'll call for meeting at the next appropriate time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Conti.
thank you, Mr. President. Reporting for Capital Improvements and City Development Committee, I have two measures to bring before the council this evening, both from the docket of September 7th, 2021. I entertain a motion to transfer $47,000 from the Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to the Citywide Transfer to Capital Fund, and to further transfer the $47,000 from the Citywide Transfer to Capital Fund to fund fire department roofs, other financing source for the additional costs associated with the design and construction of the roofs at Briggs Corner and Union Street Fire Station.
second.
Thank you. So when I first read this, I hit the roof. Because I thought we were spending a tremendous amount of money already. And I want to show you, I don't know if you can see this. This is the United States Bureau of Labor and Statistics saying that building material prices rose to a new record in 2021. Building materials have never been as expensive relatively as they are now. In addition to them being up 35.2% since December of 2014, overall construction costs are also going through the roof. This has me in a panic on capital improvements, because if we had a $10 million demand last year, now it's 13 million, just because of what's happening in the economy. This has me very, very concerned. And it's the number one topic with my next meeting with the mayor. So this $47,000 can be very easily explained that the construction costs, the cost of gypsum, the cost of lumber, the cost of steel, the cost of pre-mixed concrete, and the cost of everything that's used in construction, including the roofing material, has risen astronomically this year. And there's no signs, other than lumber came down a little bit, there's no signs that this is going to go back down to where it used to be. So I encourage my councilors to please support this motion to transfer the $47,000. It's jumping through 2 accounts to get to where it belongs, into the roofing fund. But if we don't do this now, it's going to cost even more next year. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Councilor Delisia.
Thanks, President Cooper. Yeah, Council Conti, I agree with your sentiments, and I think that, you know, it's just kind of setting the stage for what the rest of this fiscal year is going to look like. And I think we've got to get to the point where we're really looking, and all of a sudden the capital improvement plan becomes that much more important. The projects that are coded urgent need that extra scrutiny. I think going forward, it's going to be a challenge as the dust continues to settle from this pandemic, and especially with things on the rise right now. But I think that it really encourages this council to look at things through the need to have versus nice to have, and what do we need to in order to keep the city going forward. So it's certainly going to encourage us to be a little more sharpen the pencils a little bit more and have a little more scrutiny as we go through these. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments?
President Cooper, if I may.
Yes, sure.
Briefly, I fully support what Councilor Conti and Councilor Delcio just said. And just going forward, 2 big concerns for me are roofs. We got to figure out, I guess I'm pointing out the obvious, that there's got to be some other better way to do this. So those expenses are concerning to me because I don't know, it always seems to be a different roof every year. And HVAC costs, which in light of the summer we just had and the summer before, again, are also going to just keep going through the roof, pardon the pun. So those are 2 things very much that not only do we have to scrutinize the purchases, I think we need to be open to new ideas about how to do this kind of stuff, because it's going to get ridiculously expensive for many reasons. And I don't see any end in sight. So food for thought. Thank you, President Cooper.
Thank you. Councilor Conti.
So to address Council DeSimone's issue, which is a valid one, I circulated photographs of the roofs at Briggs Corner and the Union Street Fire Station to demonstrate the fact that they're flat roofs. And flat roofs in New England are a troublesome mixture. The number of people who are knowledgeable, skillful, and capable of correctly installing flat roofs is dwindling. And flat roofs are made of a material called EPDM, and it's a rubberized material, and it has a longer life than asphalt, but it's 35 years on a roof is a long time. If these were pitched roofs, I'd be suggesting metal roofs. I have one on my house. I love it. But in this case, Council DeSimone, these 2 flat roofs, and you're right, they're roofs. They need to be taken care of. This is probably the best way to get this done now. And hopefully between now and the time that they fail, there will be a better answer. That concludes my comments, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Councilor Kobus.
I just want to mention that we should be careful with just assuming that all construction costs are going to be through the roof. Yes, we saw a spike, but lumber prices are coming back down. We're starting to see things back at pre-pandemic levels, and I'm supportive of this, but I would caution about being overly concerned. And we still very much need to do our due diligence and all that. And I'm not suggesting that you were stating otherwise, but I just want to mention that the prices are coming back down.
Thank you. Any additional, Councilor Conti?
Yes, Councilor Kobus, it is only lumber that has come back down. All of the other material costs have not come down, and they're not forecasted to come down. The total construction spending is increasing just as fast as the material costs are increasing. So nothing is slowing down this construction boom, both for residential and for commercial and industrial, not to mention municipal. So based on my involvement in the trades, I think my concern for the capital improvement budget next year is highly warranted, that we are going to see less purchasing power with our dollar next year, that there is no future forecasting that indicates that this is going to turn around, particularly where we are paying prevailing wages. So I do hope that lumber prices continue to fall, but I see no indications in any of the trade magazines about any other materials coming down. That concludes my comments, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Council Dolan.
Mr. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of September 7, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve expending the fiscal year 22 Community Development Block Grant of approximately $16,060 awarded to the Council on Aging, and approve any further grant amendments by the Council on Aging.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments, Council?
Yes, Mr. President. As I said last week, this is to fund the salaries of the Shine coordinator. Now, there is a Shine director, there are 2 Shine clerks, and a coordinator working in the Larson Senior Center. This $16,600 goes to pay the partial salary of the clerk. And what Shine does, for those of you who may not recall, Shine is a consulting service for people who have retired and hit the Medicaid 65 mandatory age enrollment. And Medicaid is very complicated. There's Plan A, Plan B, and depending on the circumstances of your past, ineligible or eligible to join one or the other, or a combination of both. So they're very busy because the boomers are retiring and they're all hitting this Medicaid wall. And Shine is one of the most popular programs in the Council on Aging, and that concludes my comments.
Just one clarification. It's Medicare, Rick.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah. Do it every day.
Yeah, well, me too.
Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call will begin with Council Dolan.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes the business that the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee has to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Waterman.
Yes, reporting from the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee and from the docket of September 7th, 2021. I would move to approve the resolution commemorating the 20th anniversary of the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attack and calling upon Attleboro residents to participate in the annual National Day of Service and Remembrance. Second. Thank you. This was not presented in the form of a motion at the committee level, but we did talk about the resolution. And I am assuming that we can go forward with a motion of the council, but that is a question.
Yes. So the resolution, let me find my page, I'm sorry, was going to be presented at the next meeting.
Okay.
So on September 7th. So perhaps I would suggest you wait till then to call this motion before the full council. And at that time, be able to present. Some of us are planning to be at City Hall for that presentation and for the council picture. So we can we could do it then. And I would suggest that because we have Ben is coming from the Veterans Office, and I think that's probably best. Councilor DeSimone, did you have a
If I may, President Cooper, I completely agree with you, President Cooper, and just for the council's information, I did extend an invitation to Chief Hegney and to Chief LaChance as well. I have not heard back, but Ben did confirm his presence on the 7th.
Great.
So I
Well-
withdraw my second.
And I will withdraw the motion at this time. So moving along from the docket of September 7th, 2021, I move to approve the appointment of Heather Rockwood, 100 South Main Street, Apartment 1, to fill an unexpired term in the Cultural Council, term to expire February 2023.
Second.
Well, we've all heard from Heather. So,
motion is in order? Thank you.
yeah.
Go ahead, Councilor Waterman.
We've heard from Heather, and I have nothing further to add. I think she'd be an excellent candidate.
Thank you. Any additional comments?
I'm all set.
All right. Roll call will begin with Councilor Dolan, I think.
Mr. Blair.
There, okay.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes,
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
motion passes. Thank you.
And from the docket of September 7th, 2021, I would move to approve the appointment of Julia Texera, 5 Hanish Road, to fill an unexpired term in the Council on Aging, term to expire February of 2024.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
Well, we met with Juliet last week, and there was unanimous support, I felt, in the committee, and I would recommend it.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call vote will begin with Councilor Dolan.
Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
yeah,
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes.
And from the docket of September 7th, 2021, I move to transfer $8,020 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Veterans Replacement Flags for funds to replace flags that have become dry and brittle.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments or questions?
I believe we said that last week, but many of our flags are in dire need of replacement, and hence this request.
Great. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
yes,
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes.
And finally, from the docket of September 7th, 2021, I would move to approve the appointment of Rose Brown, 58 Holden Street, fill an unexpired term on the Cultural Council, term to expire February 2022.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
Only to say that I believe Rose Brown is an excellent candidate for the Cultural Council.
Read any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Dolan.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair, President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And that concludes the business this evening for the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. We'll meet at the next appropriate time.
Great, thank you. Who was the second on the flags?
I was.
Okay, thank you. And the second on the appointment of Ms. Brown?
That was Kate.
Was.
Great, thank you. All right, moving right along to Vice President Jackson.
Thank you, President Cooper. Reporting for the Public Works Committee from the docket of September 7th, 2021, I move to transfer $10,500 from the Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for Transfer account to the Water Enterprise Fund Engineering Services for funds to update the emergency response planning, ERP, of the water systems required under the America's Water Infrastructure Act, AWIA.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional questions or comments?
I do not.
Great. Any additional comments from the council? Seeing none, a roll call will begin with Council Blair.
Mr. Blair. He stepped away, I think, didn't he? Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 days.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of September 7th, 2021, I move to transfer $30 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to the Park and Bills from previous year account for funds to pay fiscal year 21 invoice to Flynn Pest Control.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I do not.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Roll call will begin with Council Dolan.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
No.
Mr. President Cooper.
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of September 7th, 2021, I move to transfer $51,138.11 from the Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer account to the Protective Inspections Purchase Vehicle for funds to purchase a 2021 Ford Explorer Hybrid, light package and lettering for the Building Inspection Department.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Councilor Jackson.
Thank you. I do want to say something. The inspection department has been waiting for a vehicle for a very long time. This has been on our books for quite some time. He's very patient, and they bring in a lot of money into the city coffers. And I will be more than happy to approve this because I'm tired of seeing Bill McDonough driving around looking like he's one of the Blues Brothers. You know, he's sitting way back with his glasses on. So I hope you will all support this. Thank you.
Any additional comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. That concludes the business tonight for the Public Works Committee. I would like to call for a meeting at the appropriate time next week.
Great. Thank you. Councilor Delissio.
Thank you, President Cooper, reporting for budget and appropriations from the docket of September 7th, 2021. I move to call for a public hearing on September 21st, 2021 for the following loan order request for the purpose of paying costs of making energy efficient improvements to city school buildings.
And the reason for that is we have a preliminary election on the 21st and we cannot have any public hearings that night.
Oh, that's right.
So
Oh,
did somebody second the amendment just so we can make sure?
second.
Second.
About it? Thank you. And the motion as we're going to vote the amendment first. The roll call will begin with Councilor Dolan.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Ms. DeSimone,
yes,
Mr. Blair. Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Oh, President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank
Good
you.
catch.
Motion as amended to 10-5.
Okay.
Beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
yes,
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. Hold on one second. Let me just write this down. Okay. Councilor Delissio.
Now we're voting on the motion as amended, correct?
We did that already.
Okay. Oh, because it was a friendly amendment. Okay. Just want to make sure. From the docket of September 7th, 2021, I move to transfer $37,083.53 from account citywide reserve for labor negotiations to the following accounts to satisfy the MOA with the city's labor association. 28,000. Well, I'm going to request a reading. We just request the waiving of the reading, rather.
Yes, sir. Any
Thank you.
additional comment? Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson. Any additional comments?
No, sir. We did this just about an hour ago.
Great. A roll call vote will begin with any questions from the council. I'm sorry. Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Dolan.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Ms. DeSimone,
yes,
Mr. Blair, Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Finally, from the docket of June 1st, 2021, I move to approve the waiving of sign permitting fees as required under section 17-16.5 of the revised ordinance of the city of Attleboro as a match to the TDI grant supporting small business signage program. Electrical permit fees will still apply.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. Any from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
yes,
Mr. Conti,
yes,
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, President Cooper. That is all the business for budget and appropriations. We'd like to call for the committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Cobus.
Thank you. Reporting for the Zoning and Land Use Committee from the docket of September 7th, 2021. I move to call for a public hearing on September 21st for the following street acceptance. To accept the portion of Nichols Avenue as a public way.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. And again, Councilor Cobus, would you like to make a friendly amendment to move the date? We can actually move it to September 14th. I am going to call for a special meeting on September 14th. You'll all get that notice.
Why not the 5th?
We
Did-
can
did
go to
we
the
just
5th
do
if
the
you want to be there all night, but we're going to have 4 others that night. So it's up to you. You're the committee chair. I'm just suggesting the date based on the other stuff that's laid out and call a special meeting on the 14th just because
14th is fine. Nope.
we're going to have the
Yep.
5th is going to get busy on us.
Okay. The
Two.
14th is fine.
And we may
Second.
add some others. Oh, thank you, Councilor Jackson, for the second. We may add some other public hearings to the meeting on the 14th based on the mayor's communication on the 7th, either that or the special meeting on the 28th. This is just the nature of September,
Yeah.
especially in an election year with the preliminary. So do we have a second for the date to the
Second.
September 14th? Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions? Seeing none, roll call will begin with Councilor Dolan.
Stolen.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Now the motion as amended, beginning with, I believe, Councilor Blair.
Okay, and this is on September 14th, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes.
That concludes the business for the Zoning and Land Use Committee, and call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Awesome, thank you. City property is done. Councilor Dolan.
The License Committee has no business this
No,
this
stop.
evening.
Hold on for 1 minute. Point of order, if I may, just, we called for the public hearing and I signed it to your committee for the zoo for the 28th. So we're gonna have to make an amendment to that now. That's in your committee. When were we gonna do that?
The 21st.
21st, and we can't. So we've got to move that public hearing from the 21st to the 14th, to the special meeting on the 14th.
Okay, and may I ask about my other public hearing
Yeah,
for,
21st.
We'll notify that business in writing of the change in the date. There's no, and then we'll move that one to the 5th. Because you'll be able to vote that in time. There's no requirement time-wise. So you can, once we vote it on this, you can vote that, call for a committee meeting on the 7th, September 7th, call for a special, call for a committee meeting and vote to change for R&D.
okay,
Let's do one thing at a time.
okay,
Right now, we need to do the zoo. We need to
Right.
move the zoo from the 21st to the 14th that we just voted 43 minutes ago. So
okay. So you want me to call for a public hearing for the zoo waiver for the September 14th date?
first do it, just to be technical, do it for the 21st, because that's what we voted already. So vote it
Okay.
For 9/21 first, get a second, and then someone will make an amendment to change it to the 14th. Sorry, it's so messy, but we tried to remember not to forget about the preliminary and did just that, so.
No worries. So I'd like to call for all right, I'm sorry, because I don't have anything written here, so I'd like to so I want to change the public hearing for the zoo waiver for drinking on public property from September 21st.
Second.
Yeah.
I'm going to offer up a friendly amendment to change it to September 14th, 2021.
Perfect.
Second.
So the motion is now amended. Any questions?
No.
A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Dolan on the amendment.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Amend the motion. Now the motion has amended. We'll begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. So that public hearing is now moved to September 14th, and you'll all get a special meeting notice for that date tomorrow in your mailbox. Now, for your committee, Council Dolan, while your committee is still open, tomorrow, Virginia will send notice to the business affected by the change in date to alert them to an October 5th date. At that time, on September 7th, you will need to call for a committee meeting to vote that day, to have the public hearing that day, to have the public hearing on 10/5. Then we'll vote it before the full council on the meeting of the 7th and notify him appropriately again of the change in date.
Okay, and I'll just notify my guests.
That is, yes. If that date doesn't work, we can do it later in the month in October.
Okay, and I'll contact them right away and let Virginia know if for whatever reason they can't make that date.
That's great. That's great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Sorry about all the moving around, but we would hit.
No, I just don't have anything written in front of me because I had really no business. So
I know. and then-
thank you for being patient with me, you guys.
Well, no, that's,
I just think it's a great catch.
all right. Any additional questions or comments from your committee, Councilor Dolan?
No, I would like to call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time. Thank you.
Thank you. So there is no new business. There is-
Ordinances? President Cooper, forgive me, ordinances? Do you want me to,
Yes,
okay, President Cooper, the ordinances, elections and legislative matters committees has no business to report this evening, and we look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time next week.
thank you. And now I'm at the last piece of paper. Okay, there is no new business. There is no old business, but before we adjourn, I am going to review just quickly with everybody September's swirl that we just got into. So again, we're going to meet, License Committee will meet at 6:30 on 9/7. We'll have the council picture with the mayor at 6. So then 6:30 will be your follow-up meeting, Councilor Dolan. On the 14th, again, we'll get a special meeting notice in your box tomorrow. We'll have public hearings that evening for the zoo and Nichols street acceptance. On the 21st will be a regular meeting that can have no public hearings that evening. And the 28th, we'll also have a special meeting to vote the Friends of Capron Park Zoo permit to ensure that they get that in time for the event. Any questions on the September schedule? Councilor Stewart, Becker, I promoted you.
Now, I know that we can't have a public hearing for the zoo, but can it be voted 9/21 and avoid the 9/28 meeting altogether?
Yes, as I said it out loud, I
Okay.
got that, but let's not cancel that special meeting on the 28th because this thing on the 21st and just the cadence of September is probably going to catch up to us. So we may need that meeting anyway. If we need to cancel the special, we can do that as the month progresses.
Thank you.
Yes, that would give them more time to get done what they need to get done. Okay.
President Cooper, on the 7th, after the picture, are you expecting, or is our councils welcome to stay in chambers for the meeting?
Yes. they
Okay.
Can. And the issue is we will, because we're in the city building, I have to look at the mayor's last communication on wearing masks. I just want to make sure that we're following the rules on mask wearing. So it should give everybody enough time if we have to, if we only have a quorum of 6 to start, we can do that on the 7th as people are trying to get back home from the picture. And I will be present for Council Dolan's committee meeting as well to vote the matter. So if people can't be there, if the committee needs to leave to go home to get logged in, that's fine too.
Excuse me, Mark.
Yes.
You are going to be at the council chambers that night, so you don't have to
You
do
don't
it.
have to race home.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Any additional questions? All right. Seeing none at this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Thank you. Motion is in order. A roll call will begin with Council Dolan.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. We are adjourned at 7:51.
Everybody enjoy the Labor Day weekend.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Nice.
Good night.